I would recognize you. Good to see you.
Good to see you, and I was next door with folks in the favor of this, great people, and we're having a great discussion and telling stories about my uncle getting his CHL this year, and you'd think that he won the lotto. He was very happy in his 80s.
Y'all didn't have a prayer at Thanksgiving?
No, but I have a prayer for you because he's in Houston, Senator, so be careful with my uncle.
And pass the ammo?
No, not past the ammo. But anyway, it's really an honor to be here in front of this distinguished panel, and I just wanted to I just weigh in on this issue. First of all, from a law enforcement perspective, and I'm representing the Austin Police Department, and I can say of many police chiefs, including University of Texas police chiefs that I've talked to, several of them that I will not name because I don't think they're allowed to testify under the rules of the state. But while we're all in favor of CHL, at least I am, I think a lot of my colleagues are, in the open environment throughout Texas. One of the concerns that we have is the college campus, somewhat like a church and somewhat like a bar, is probably not the best environment to have a concentration of people armed. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Number one, I believe it was September, I don't remember the month now, Senator, because it's been, time flies. We had a young man come to the UT campus, and one of the concerns that I think from law enforcement we have is that we have a concentration of armed folks that are not police officers readily identifiable in a small environment like a campus environment, is distinguishing the friendly armed persons from the unfriendly armed persons. And when we had that suspect go on campus and start shooting at AK-47, I was fortunately in the area and was on scene within 4 to 5 minutes. Units of the Austin Police Department and the University of Texas were on scene within a little over 2 minutes. And one of the first things that came on my mind is friendly fire and having a tragic incident where other police officers are being shot, which happens unfortunately on a regular basis in this country, just like it does in the military with friendly fire. And we actually ordered all officers that were not in readily identifiable police uniform or vest or something to identify those police officers stay out of the area. So from that standpoint, from an operational standpoint, if in the event of a gunman, first of all, police are much better trained to respond. College universities and universities are much better trained to respond, prepared to respond. Our response tactically to these incidents are much more aggressive than it's been in the past. And I strongly believe by introducing many more weapons into a campus environment, you probably have a greater chance of negative outcomes as a consequence of more weapons on a campus than you do as a consequence of fewer losses.
Can you say that about nearly any location? The state capitol, the mall, etc.?
Well, the state capitol, one of the things that you have going for you is ICDPS troopers all over the capitol. And it's a place where, as people walk in, whether they realize it or not, they're being identified as CHL holders because you have controlled entry points at the state capitol. So I think you really have to distinguish the environment and the environment faced by police officers here, where they know who the CHL holders are as they come in. For the staffers, they get to know you on a daily basis. For the visitors, they have to come in through a special location. You would not have that in a college environment. And Senator, many have mentioned that the chances of something happening on a college campus are minimal. So if they're minimal, I'm not sure what we're trying to fix in terms of safety on campus. I think that we're maybe creating a fix for something that's not a problem. And I would just urge that we find, Senator Ellis was kind of reading my mind, I couldn't understand why you would pull and allow the private universities to opt out but not give the same courtesy to, for example, my son who's in a public university that can't, because it's a little more affordable, even though it may change with the budgets the way things are going. But I don't understand, and it's okay, there must be students laughing because they're not paying, I'm paying the check, not him. But I just would believe that in the interest of fairness, and I think Texas is all about fairness, we're all about local control to a great extent, that I would urge that at least, at a minimum, that you would consider letting the people that live on that campus, work on that campus, and police on that campus make the decisions at the local level. They are best situated to make those decisions at the local level. And I believe that and I strongly believe that the folks in the public institution should have the same courtesy as the folks in the private institution as an alternative to what legislation and how it stands today.
Any questions? If not, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Take care.